In this lesson, we will finalize our flight sequence, and we'll also learn how to create real-time previews for animations inside of Max. So we've come to the last few steps. What we'll do first is go ahead and hide any objects that would be a distraction right now. So of course we'll want to hide our objects to hide layer. That's why it was made. And we'll go ahead and hide our control object that we're just focused on, everything that will eventually be rendered out. So I'm now going to go ahead and hit play. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, this is really exciting. How cool is that? I think there are only a few things that we can tweak. Right now we're getting twinning on the right fan. Twinning is essentially when things happen at the same speed and where our poses are essentially symmetrical. We want to always look for ways to break up twinning because it's not really natural. It doesn't happen in real life. So this may seem pretty slight, but sometimes the slightest change can mean so much. So that's one thing we can tweak, and I believe if we were to just go in on about frame 55 or so where the fans kind of just stop, if we were to just go in and add a slight change where they move a little bit more before they come to a stop a few frames after, that might loosen them up a bit because they seem to kind of stop too quickly. Alright, so we want to loosen that up a bit. So it makes sense then to first work on that, work on loosening up the turbines, or the fans, the casings, and then we'll just go in and offset our keyframes to finish up with a real-time preview. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab our control object again. We'll go ahead and unhide that layer. Let's go ahead and move back to our perspective view. This won't take much time at all. We'll press F3. Take a look at the shaded view. And let's go ahead and grab our animation control and move to our modify panel. Alright, so take a look at the fan casings. They just come to a stop right after 55. Let's go ahead and have them move for a little bit longer so that by the time we get to 70, that's their stopping point. So in 55, we'll go there. We'll just make sure that we have them point forward just slightly with a value of about -0.1. So they rotate back on about 43, and then they rotate forward slightly on 55, and then eventually they come to a stop. I think that looks much nicer because it loosens them up a bit more. And now to offset them, we can work with our simple expression we've used before. Alright, so with our control selected, we'll right click, we'll grab our curve editor, and let's go ahead and find our swivel parameters. Now when deciding on which F curve to offset, it depends on what's more prominent in our shot. And that's just a rule that I like to stick to. If the shot camera is on the left side and we're focused on an object that we might consider delaying, why not go ahead and delay the opposite side, since that's not necessarily where the attention is. And that's just something that I like to do from time to time if I quickly need to go in and create an offset. Alright, so instead of offsetting the left side, we'll just go in and offset the right side. We'll go ahead and grab all of our keys here, and let's say we now grab our value parameter, or excuse me, the frame parameter, and we'll type in n plus 2, and that will offset things by just 2 frames. Alright, great. So now we can go ahead and close this out. We can go back to the shot camera to take a look. Again, it's just a subtle change, but it should look really nice by the time we render out the sequence. I think that's going to work out very well. Very exciting. Alright, so the next thing I'd like to show you before we create our preview is how to lock your camera down, because right now it's very easy to go in and adjust our camera. That's not really an adjustment, that's a disaster. We can't have that happen, so I'll just go ahead and press Control Z to undo that back. You can lock these objects down, and that way no one can interfere with them. So if you'd like to do that, it's just a matter of going in and selecting the object to lock down. I'll go ahead and grab the camera. We can head over to our hierarchy panel, go to link info, and take a look. We can go ahead and lock down the transforms of that object from the locks rollout. So just go in and make sure all of these are checked. The animation will still exist. It will still work. Just making sure that no one's able to interfere with the hard work that we've put into these objects, into this animation. I'll do the same thing for the shot camera's control. Just go ahead and lock down each transform channel. All right. Very nice. Okay, well, now we're ready to create a real-time preview. So here's how this works. It's just a matter of heading over to the top left of our viewport, and we could choose Create Preview, Create Animated Sequence File from here. Or another way, so head over to Tools, grab Viewport, and here it is, Create Animated Sequence File. So now we get to choose our range, our playback frames per second count, how large the video would be. I like to set this to about 100% so we have a nice large view to work with, and our rendering style, and we could also choose what we decide to show or hide from the display filters section. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. When I come back, we'll see our work playing back in real time. Here it is. How cool is that? We have sure learned a lot through both the rigging and animation sections of this course. We've learned techniques that are industry techniques. They're not just basic or foundational techniques. They're techniques that are used often to make sure that work truly stands out. And that's the exciting thing about this course. So if you need to, feel free to go back and watch any lessons you might have been unclear about. Then for the next step, you might take a look at Introduction to Rigging, Introduction to Animation. Remember, we also have our Animation Polishing Techniques course that goes through a more in-depth look into how we can polish animation for rigging. You can take a look at our Intro to Character Rigging tutorial. We have a lot of content out there that will really help you get on the way to becoming a good artist and truly making work that will help you to find a good job, your ideal job in this industry. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is show you where this file exists before we close this lesson off, so you know exactly where to find this rendered preview. So I'll go ahead and pause the video. And now back in 3ds Max, if we were to take a look at our viewport, go to Create Preview, take a look, we can now choose Rename Animated Sequence File, and that will bring you to the folder where that file lives. Okay, so by default, this is the name for it. You can change it however you'd like, but you know exactly where it's at. It's in your Previews folder of your project. All right, well, that's it for this lesson. Truly had a lot of fun working on this exercise with you. If you'd like, you can go in and hide your control object since you're now ready to hand this file off to the next artist. And in the next section, you'll get into another form of animation which involves dynamics and particles. So that'll be a lot of fun.